I got into this crazy cancer life at pretty much what I thought was the apex of my career. I had just been picked out of a pretty wide national selection to appear on the next Food Network star. I was America's choice, and I received over 1 million votes for people picking me to be on this show. So for 2 weeks, I lived in Manhattan, and I got to be at the Food Network and do this crazy great competition and make a lot of new friends, and was consistently kind of winning those little competitions through there, and it was just a great experience all the way around. But I was having some difficulty during that time. It definitely does not breed confidence when people see a skinny chef. There's the old "never trust a skinny chef" thing going on. And for folks that don't know my story but may have seen me in the earlier part of my career when I was a much larger man, they'll see me, "Oh my God, you've lost so much weight. What's your secret?" And I'm like, "Well, it's highly effective, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's called stomach cancer." So my story is a little different from the normal gastric cancer story, if there is such a thing as a normal gastric cancer story, in that I had none of the classic symptoms of reflux or difficulty swallowing or any of those digestion issues. I went into the hospital thinking I was having a heart attack. The left side of my body was going numb. I was having stabbing pains in my chest. Pretty much everything that you've ever been told are heart attack symptoms are what I was experiencing. I got to the hospital, and the next doctor in looked at my labs, and she had the insight or the wisdom to say, "He has to be bleeding internally. Let's have a look." And sure enough, right at the GI junction, the junction between the stomach and the esophagus, sat a tumor that was bleeding. It's my lot in life, is feeding people, feeding things. Even feeding the fish makes me happy. I didn't make this meal for them. Those symptoms that I was experiencing were because my body was just shutting down. I was losing so much blood internally that my body was just kind of, going for a long, if not permanent, nap, and that was what really clued us in that I had cancer. So I really threw my weight, what was left of me, at teaching. That's where I kind of found this niche of going to places like a cancer wellness center in Atlanta. So we're gonna go raw okra, semi-raw corn, and I might end up, why not? Let's just do the whole damn thing. Protein's coming in two forms here. I've got black-eyed peas, and these are not canned. These are dried peas that I have rehydrated, and then quinoa. And quinoa is, I hope everybody here knows what quinoa is, but if you don't, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. I have such a knowledge and love of food, and I have been told, and I like to think that is a bit contagious. When you're dealing with disease, you hate to use the word contagious, but hopefully that's contagious in a good way, that people really start to think about their choices, and especially in the realm of food. That's one way that I can make people happy. When I add the rum to this to make the flame, I want to make sure that I'm away from the fire, and then I put the rum down before I come back. So anyway, so here we go. So I take it away from the fire, put in the rum, go around the pan, and I take this out of the way, and that's the trick of it. So that looks good. So, but again, you don't have to flame it. You can just put rum in the whole thing if you want to. But the flaming, it just kind of makes it fun and festive and a little celebratory. And I think sometimes we need to celebrate whatever it is. Come up with a reason to celebrate something, and look for an excuse to do things. I was given a 2% chance of surviving this, and my thought from day one is, well, somebody had to be that 2%, and somebody had to make it, otherwise that percentage wouldn't be there. I think it's from the minute you have that cancer diagnosis, and we tend to think of it as an excuse. That's the red light in our life. I can't do this because of my illness. But I've tried to have cancer be the green light in my life, and obviously there are days where I don't feel well and I'm physically not able to do things. But on the days where I am physically able to do things, I kind of use that as my fuel. It's the thing in my tank. It's the thing that's kind of pushing me forward. Once you've been shown that sand in your hourglass, and once you kind of are aware of that, the finite ephemeral nature of life. And again, this sounds so cliche, but it's short. It's short, and it's precious, and it's the kind of thing that there will only ever be one today. It's a very limited resource, and what I do with today is sort of my decision. And whatever happens and happens to me, happiness is not a person, place, or a thing. It's a decision. So if the rest of my life, no matter how short or how long, is filled with moments like that, where I get to be with people that I love and admire and can feed them and make them happy, then that's a good enough goal for me.